What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your stimulus package update and daily news report for Saturday, November 13th. So today I want to discuss a few things. First, of course, we're going to go over the stimulus package update. Going to talk about where we're standing with infrastructure. Do we have CBO scores yet? Where Democrats currently stand, what they're fighting for, and what we could potentially see. We're also going to talk about Social Security increases, what we're seeing there, because a lot of people are asking, how big is this? Are we going to actually get any additional money? And the answer is yes, but it's not as big as many people are expecting. We're also going to talk about a little bit as to whether or not Democrats trust Senator Joe Manchin. And at this time, some are really skeptical of trying to deal directly with him because he keeps on giving them additional hurdles to jump over. And lastly, we're going to talk about affordable housing. There's a major crisis here. However, the Biden administration, in their current plan, is not really tackling the big issues. So we're going to address that in today's video. If you have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. But let's jump into the update. So we do have some good news. According to Nancy Pelosi, she says that 6 committees have already received their CBO scores. However, we do not know exactly what those are, right? But she has said that the House is expecting 3 more scores by Monday. She also says that the CBO has been consistent with the White House's preliminary budget estimate, which means that the CBO, according to Nancy Pelosi, is saying that so far the bill would be fully funded up to the point where they're at now. So this is good news because as of right now, moderates would only accept this bill as it stands if, and only if, the CBO comes back and says the bill is fully funded. However, and again, this is the case, but moderates right now in the House, this is the main issue they have with the bill is what if this bill is not fully funded? What happens then? So we don't know if they are going to support this entire bill once the CBO score does come out. Again, the House moderates are wanting just the fiscal information. They can make their determination from there. However, we do not know if they're going to come up with additional reasons as to why they can't support this bill. Some say they expect Senator Joe Manchin is going to push the House Democrats to not support the bill until they get everything that he wants. So again, that's just one of the reports, but we will see if that actually happens. Here's something else we do know. We have, according to multiple reports, Democrats have been reassured by Senator Kyrsten Sinema that she would support the Build Back Better Act as it stands right now. However, the expectation is the bill is ultimately going to change. The bill is going to change because Senator Joe Manchin wants it to change. However, one thing I can tell you is if Senator Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema are both in favor of the bill, it's going to pass. If they're both not too happy about where it stands, they're going to make changes. But the expectation is they are both going to work together. They're going to be the 2 people that craft this bill. So even though House Democrats are trying to negotiate this bill and get something done in the House, the expectation is that bill will be heavily altered once it heads over to the Senate. Now, according to CNN, Senator Joe Manchin did tell Representative Pramila Jayapal that she doesn't have any leverage over him at this time, that she lost all leverage when Democrats voted for the $1.2 trillion bipartisan bill. Well, here's the frustrating thing about that. Progressives knew if they voted for this, that was their leverage. Now they have absolutely nothing because here's the problem. As of today, according to multiple reports, Democrats, mainly moderates, are content with passing just the bipartisan infrastructure bill, and they will leave it at that. They will risk not passing President Biden's Build Back Better Act simply because some say that we do not need it. It's not needed at this time. But for progressives, they have to fulfill the promises that they made to the American people. And if they don't, this could hurt them. Many lawmakers are now predicting that the bill will be cut once again if it's going to pass during this calendar year. Or we could potentially wait and pass a $1.75 trillion bill, or possibly larger, which again, I don't want to come out and say, oh, it's going to be bigger. It's going to be $3.5 trillion. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying what Democrats are telling us is we could potentially wait until 2022, pass a bigger bill, or even a $1.75 trillion bill, or we could do additional cuts now, try to not worry about inflation too much, but pass something today which would help progressives. So that's what we're seeing. But one of the issues right now is that Senator Joe Manchin told Pramila Jayapal that she has no leverage, right? Here's the issue. Senator Bernie Sanders wants to expand Medicare. The problem is Senator Joe Manchin doesn't. We know there's been very intense talks over paid family leave, right? That's not going to stop. That is something that Speaker Pelosi wanted as well. But again, that's just one of those things. That's just one of those things that is currently up in the air. Medicare is another big one, and that's what a lot of people are fighting for. But while we're talking about Medicare, let's jump into Social Security for a second. Now, here's what I can tell you. Social Security beneficiaries are going to get $92 per month in addition to what they are currently getting. This is seen as really good, almost $100 extra every single month. That is due to a historic 5.9% cost of living adjustment for 2022. Now, we haven't seen numbers this high since 1982. This is when it was at 7.4%. However, that was a big step down from where it was. In the 2 previous years, it was actually at 11.2% and 14.3%. That was in 1980 and 1981. Now, hopefully, we do not get back there. That would be insane. But at a glance, you're probably thinking, oh, this is a good thing. We're seeing increases across the board, right? We're going to get a little bit extra money. We can have some breathing room. We can actually afford to maybe go buy a coffee at Starbucks, pay to actually have our heater up just 1 degree warmer in the wintertime, right? Well, here's what you need to understand. You are not going to be getting as much money as you think. And here's the problem. Right now, if you factor in the rising cost of food and services, that brings down the amount of money that you're going to have left at the end of the month. If you also factor in, things like, your rent payments going up, right? Or your property taxes going up, well, this eats into it as well. And then to make matters even worse, okay? I want to bring this to your attention because I thought this was insane when I saw this. If you factor in the increased cost for Medicare Part B, which is going to go up $21.60 a month, okay? It's going to go up to $171, okay? It's going to see a 15% increase. Your cost for Medicare Part B is going to go up 15%. How crazy is that? And it's due to one thing. I'll address that in just a second. But Medicare Part A, that's going to increase around 6%. That's more in line with the 5.9% cost of living adjustment. But why is it only 5.9% when Medicare Part B is going to go up 15%? It's actually a little bit over 15% as well. Well, Medicare officials stated that half of this increase, okay, get this, half of this increase is due to covering the cost of Alzheimer's medication. This will be used to cover Aduhelm. Maybe I said that right, I don't know. This is a new $56,000 per year medication. Experts say that due to the rising cost of medications, there is a crisis coming when dealing with the sustainability of the Medicare program. This is why, okay, and just paint the big picture here. This is why Senator Bernie Sanders has been fighting to let Medicare negotiate drug prices. Because if they don't, this is what's going to happen. $56,000 per year, it probably doesn't even cost a quarter of that to manufacture this drug. So that's a huge, huge issue, is that we keep patting the billionaires' pockets, the CEO of these companies, and that's great. I'm all for people becoming millionaires and billionaires and growing their companies. Obviously, I think that's part of the backbone of the United States. But here's the issue: it's so expensive that we're pretty much going after the poor, the lower income earners, people on Social Security, right? They don't have another option. There's no other option, yet we are attacking them by increasing the cost of living adjustment. Great. Well, then we bring it right back down because, well, we're going to increase Medicare Part B by 15%, right? That's ridiculous. That is just insane, but that is what we're going through right now. So again, I'm going to bring you these updates. Honestly, I think these are extremely important for, even though I'm not collecting Social Security, I'm not on Medicare, right? I pay into them. As a self-employed person, I pay into both of these. However, there's a high likelihood that these are not going to be around. And this is exactly what Senator Joe Manchin is worried about. But again, he's not tackling the big issues. Senator Joe Manchin stated that he won't support an increase to Social Security. He will not support an increase in expanding Medicare because they could both become insolvent in the next 5 to 12 years. This is why some question whether or not Senator Joe Manchin can actually be trusted, because he says, I can't support it because of this. But when it comes to providing a solution, there's no solution to be had. Many progressives said that Senator Joe Manchin would actually support their bill. He promised, according to them, he promised that he would vote for if they voted for their $1.2 trillion bipartisan bill, that he would vote for their bill, their human infrastructure bill at 1.75. However, I thought this was interesting. One expert pointed out this week that Senator Joe Manchin didn't make those promises. Senator Joe Manchin was talking with President Biden. Senator Joe Manchin was talking with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. Senator Joe Manchin never made such a promise. They are saying that Senator Manchin was having talks with Biden, and Biden was the one that was doing the promises. President Biden was the one making these big promises. So the question now has become, can President Biden be trusted to deliver? And that's the big question, because right now, we don't know. Now, here's one of the promises that President Biden did make. President Biden promised to make housing more affordable. Now, in his campaign promises, he promised $200 per month for Social Security recipients. That's not going to happen. He promised up to $10,000 in student loan forgiveness. Well, that technically isn't happening, but the education department is forgiving certain loans. So this is kind of a roundabout way, but it is somewhat working. We'll see what happens there. One of his promises, though, was to let's make housing more affordable. Well, many people are skeptical about his plan. Here's the reason why. There are two ways to make housing more affordable. One, you can make the item itself less expensive by offering supply side policies, right? The other way is you can give the American people more money so that they can afford these items through more of a demand-sided policy, right? Those are two ways. Well, here's the problem. If you give people more money, right, it sounds great. Let's just give people more money, right? Because then they can go and buy a house. Let's just give people, the first-time home buyers, a tax credit. Then they can go buy a house, right? It's great. Here's the problem. If you do this, it will actually ultimately increase prices of homes, because now more people are in the market to buy a home, but yet there's still not any more homes. So you have a certain supply, but yet you have an increased demand. It's going to only increase the price of every single home. Starter homes, those that are under 1,400 square feet, these homes are now becoming more and more unaffordable. Many people who are looking to either rent or buy a home, number one, they're struggling to rent because, well, landlords want first month, last month, security deposit, right? Let's say it's $2,000 each, $2,000, $4,000, $6,000. $6,000 just to move in. Well, if many people had $6,000, they'd try to buy a home, right? That's kind of the consensus is, if I had $6,000 to $10,000, why wouldn't I just go and buy a home? Here's the problem. A lot of people can't afford it. Cannot afford the home, and $10,000 in many cases is not enough to actually get you into a home. Okay, in some cases, I'm not saying all, but in some cases. But again, here's another problem. The problem at this time with supply side policies is if we try to increase the supply, the amount of homes on the market, the problem is it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take years, right? So here's what I can tell you. Currently, we have a 3.8 million unit shortage here in the United States. That's a pretty big shortage. Some people say it's going to take anywhere from 5 to 8 years to even get somewhat back to even. And with Biden's 10-year plan to rehab and improve, okay? Keywords, rehab or improve. This is going to make it where there's about 1 million more affordable homes, okay? Here's what I want to clarify on this one. Right now, according to experts, this will not make much of a dent in the shortage. 1 million compared to the 3.8, we still have a 2.8 million unit shortage. Here's the problem. Experts also worry that too many existing affordable units would be rehabbed. This is part of that 1 million more affordable units. Is if we rehab existing units, here's a problem. That doesn't mean we get more units. It simply means there's better units. That's the only difference. There's better affordable housing. There's not, cracks in the walls. There's not cockroaches running around on the ground. That's all we're seeing when it comes to making rehabs and improvements. It doesn't mean that those units are not being currently rented. It just means we're going to make them better. So experts are worried that this isn't going to increase the amount of supply we have. It's only just going to spend taxpayer dollars on something just to get it fixed. So we'll see what happens. Honestly, I think that's great. We should put some money into affordable housing, but the problem is it's not going to make it easier to get into a home in many cases. So when the U.S. government provided vouchers, and I want to address this because I think this is something that many people have brought up in the past, is why don't we just give the American people more vouchers? They can go and rent a home, right? Just give them a voucher. Here's a problem. When we do this, according to experts, this is supposed to make housing more affordable. The problem is it actually increases rents, and on average, rents went up 16%. So again, this affordable housing crisis, it's not coming to an end. So the expectation at this time, according to multiple housing experts, is get ready for home prices to steadily increase over the next 1 to potentially 2 years. So again, if you own a home, great. You're probably doing very well. But if you don't own a home and you're looking to rent, the problem there is there's not a lot on the market, or it's just very overpriced. So that's what we know at this time, but as always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share more. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. Have an incredible weekend as well. If you enjoyed today's video, go ahead, hit that like button. It really does help out the channel. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.